Hey team, this is Luke at Crusader Machining. Welcome back for another video. Today, we're gonna freewheel a topic, so don't really know how to start this off, but I'll do my best. Lately, I've received some comments on my socials, whether or not that be TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, where a few people have said to me, it's obvious that this man is not a machinist, or one of the DMs was, I'm just a button pusher. And any experienced person in the field knows exactly what that means. And what was another one? Oh, step away from the machine. This video shows that you don't know what you're doing. And a few of them are DMs. And I don't mind that so much. Genuinely, I don't. But I'm going to address a couple things in this video today. Are you a button pusher or are you a machinist? So first we're going to talk about button pushers, then we're going to talk about machinists. And I generally don't like to call someone a button pusher. Not really at all, to be quite honest. I think it's kind of when someone says that to someone, it's a slight towards them, where they were to say, hey, you're a button pusher, you're not a machinist. And I got news for everyone out there. 9 times out of 10, every good machinist out there started out as a button pusher. What I like to call them is operators. I don't ever want to try to demean what someone does to earn a living by calling them something that might be misconstrued as negative or construed as negative. Some people say it as though they're going to get one up on them and say, oh no, you're not a machinist, you're just a button pusher. And everyone's heard like the keyboard warriors. Well, I'm here to stick up for button pushers, or as I'll call them for the rest of the video, operators. So every machine shop that I know of has like a certain hierarchy or tiers. Usually that top tier, some would call like an ME or a manufacturing engineer, the person that's in charge of laying out a job, programming it or engineering or designing and managing the programming of it, ordering the tooling, the gauging, how it's going to run, where it's going to run, stuff like that. But then from that top tier, it goes down. It goes down to the setup and programmer and different tasks and jobs until generally it gets to operator. And the operators are the ones that are in the trenches every day running the machines. They're the ones that are verifying the part quality, which in most shops is paramount. If you don't supply parts that conform to your customer's requirements, what are we even here for? That's what we do. It's a precision job to make precision parts that conform to your customer standards or your in-house standards if you're making your own product. So the operators are the ones that are verifying that, and they're the ones that are keeping the lights green, making sure the parts are good, the machine doesn't catch on fire and blow up, God forbid, making sure that the machine is maintained, tooling is kept in line, tooling's not breaking, changing the inserts as you need, monitoring the tool life. They're the ones that are making a machinist's job easier. Here's an example. Say you got a machinist. His job is to set up a machine. He goes and sets it up, passes it off to an operator. Operator runs, say, three automatic machines, or loading 1 mill. If that operator's doing a horrible job, and some of them do for whatever reason, he's going to be bothering the machinist every half an hour. Oh, the tool broke. Oh, we made scrap. The machine crashed. I didn't load the part correctly. Now, let's look at that from the other side of the coin. Say the operator's very good at their job. They don't know how to program. They don't know how to set up. All they do is operate. The machinist or the setup guy sets up the job, qualifies to a quality, passes off to the operator. He moves on to his next job. He's done. Say the operator knows to monitor that tool life. But whether or not it's visually looking at the tool, looking at the chips, checking if a dimension is varying, So they adjust the machine, change the tool, keep that light green, keep that company making money. That machinist's job then is very easy, or whoever's in charge of that operator. That makes their day a lot less stressful to have a highly skilled operator. Some would say that the operators keeping the machines running are the backbone of the company. That doesn't take away from the value of the programmer, the setup person, the machinist that gets that machine running. But I don't want to call an operator a button pusher. It makes them look bad. And every good machinist that I know of started at some point operating. Maybe there were some that were thrown right into like a training program to get there, but the machinists that I know, that I respect and I look up to, that are very, very good at their job, the people I respect in my field, they've all had that critical experience of operating a machine. Fighting those daily battles of chips and filling it with coolant and fixing little problems and intricacies and checking fine details and visually inspecting the part. That's all such great experience that if you can start on that lower level as an operator and take those years of experience or however much time battling that machine, fighting it, hopefully not too much, but an operator, that's what they do. They make sure that machine stays green. Sometimes it's a battle. Sometimes it's a fight. That's such great experience. And for all the operators out there, take that experience with you. Try to move up into your shop, and that's valuable stuff. So when you go on to be a programmer or setup person or a machinist, you remember that roughing tool that blew out and why it did, or that threading insert that didn't work, or that tight dimension that kept changing and why it kept changing. Why did you have to continually monitor that part? When you're in that position of a machinist, you can address that. 2 thumbs up for operators out there. Now let's go on to what is a machinist. I actually don't know the textbook definition, and maybe I should have been prepared for that, but I don't. As my brother, who is a machinist, he works on 5-axis mills, he's great at his job and very, very fine fella. He told me when we were talking about it a few days ago, he said what makes someone a good machinist in his perspective is taking theory and putting it into workable practice. So a lot of people went to trade school for this field or took classes in a vocational program, and they'll tell you, here's what you need a spot drill for, here's what a thread is, and here's how you make a thread, here's how you program, all this applicable information. That's theory, machining theory. Taking that stuff that you read from a book and making it into your machine, making your part, programming it, setting it up into workable practice. That is one of the criteria of his definition. And I like that. Kudos to my brother David. Now, I would take that and expand a little bit. Now, your top tier machinist, someone could hand them a print. Boom, here's a print. Take that print, go from print and nothing else. You know what machine to run it on, what order of operations to run it on. That's why I talk to my students a lot. Order of operations is critical. Be ready with that before you're at the machine or before you write your program. What machine to run it on, what's your order of operations, what's your tools, what's your material allowance from rougher to finisher or drill to bore. What tools do you need, how to program it, set up that machine, qualify it with quality, and pass it off. So for what I call part inception, when you get that print to when that part is either passed off to the operator or shipped out the door, that to me is a complete top tier machinist. And there's going to be a lot of people that say, oh, well, you can be a machinist without that. True, you can. There's conventional machinists out there that are much better than me on a manual lathe, like A-Bomb, for instance. He'll run circles around me on conventional machining, manual mills, manual lathes. He's got some shapers that are awesome. I mean, he's excellent in his craft, for sure. He's a machinist, through and through, without a doubt. He can take a print and make it, but it's outside of my wheelhouse. I associate it with CNC machining. What's a CNC machinist is being able to Then that top tier level is being able to go from part inception to shipping out the door, and you are able to do everything between. Not necessarily that you do it every time. Like me, I don't take apart, lay it out, program it, get the tooling, get the gauging, set up the job, run it and ship it out. But I can take a print, most always, take that print and make a good part, make a good quality part, get it qualified with QA and QC, ship it out, we're good to go. To me, that's your top tier. And there are ranges of machinists within there, so we're not trying to split hairs here. So you can be a machinist and not know all that without a doubt, 100%, you know, but to me, that's like the top tier of what people should shoot for in their field. And I got news for everyone. The experience of an operator or a button pusher adds to that ability to be a machinist. When I was 15, 16 years old, I was operating an old Omni-turn, and it was horrible. It was horrendous. It was like a 7-second cycle time, pop open a 5C collet, air blow, or take the part out, air blow, put the next part in, close the collet. There was like a little plastic window for a door, like a little sleeve almost, or a little shutter, hit start, run it. 15 seconds later, all day, it was horrible. But then as I slowly moved up, I was able to take all that experience I learned from being an operator, and I was a pretty good operator. Not as good as I am a machinist though. And because I'm too impatient for it, and I find it incredibly boring with the fast cycle times on one machine standing there. I'd rather run a few automatics all day. Keep the bar fed loaded, keep the coolant tank clean, keep the chips flowing through, keep the lights green, keep them parts coming out, maintain quality. So for all the operators out there, you have a wonderful opportunity right now to take the info that you're learning in the trenches. Take those experiences, those lessons, the battles, the struggles, put them in your mental library, and take theory and put it into practice. Once again, to quote my younger brother, very wise man he is, and then you could work towards being that machinist. But I don't want to call them button pushers. I mean, unless you're using it as like not a degrading term or whatever, because my operators here that work under me, they make my job very easy. I set up a machine, I pass it off to them. So that's it for this video. Just wanted to go on a little bit of a spiel, and if there's any other negative comments out there, I don't mind it whatsoever. More than happy to engage. I prefer them to be civil. You know, we can have a conversation and talk or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, comment, subscribe. Check me out on Instagram, @Crusader Machining. Leave a comment below. What do you think? What's your opinion of an operator? Or what is your criteria for a machinist? What do you think? Let me know. Good, bad, or ugly. I'm here for it. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.